Hey guys, Megan Lynn here, Spiritual Empress. How is everybody? It's like really cloudy today. I'm just on my way back from getting a drug test for my new job. That's so funny too, because like I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I do. It's like I know I'll pass the drug test because I don't do drugs, but it still like makes you nervous for some stupid odd reason. I have no idea. So I wanted to do a story time until you guys tell me really what you want to hear about. I'm just going to do rando videos. And then I'm doing a story time today. If you guys want stories, go to an Aquarius. Aquarius always has tons of stories because they put themselves in weird ass situations. So this one was not intentional, but I wanted to talk about the time I was the other woman. And I did not know this, so I don't condone people. I'm like a really loyal person, so like when people are cheating or like even friends are cheating on boyfriends or things like that, like that's just not cool to me. No, because I know once I am being loyal to somebody else, it's like a very what they said especially with Aquarius, it's like making a contract with the Godfather. So so there was a time where, this was in my early 20s when I was in property management. I kind of went through this thing where I was like the flavor of the month. Who I could pull really surprises me sometimes. And I think it's just how brazen I am. I don't know. But anyway, I was seeing, so there was this resident, and I don't condone either like messing around with residents, things like that. But there happened to be a resident at the community I was working for. And like, you know, beyond that, like all my residents liked me. I never dated residents or anything like that. But there's this guy on property, and he was known as like the guy. Like all the girls just thought he was so dreamy and like whatever. And it was so funny. We'll just call him Scorpio. And I'm going to talk about two guys. So it was Scorpio, and then the other guy was Capricorn. So Scorpio he was one of my residents. And I don't know what it was, but so he's like the dreamy guy. He's like got all the game, you know, whatever. He's very magnetic. So he was like the guy on property that everybody just like wanted to be with. So he would come in and sometimes we chit chat and things like that. Well, one day he was out at the pool. So I used to like pool a ton. I don't have my pool. This is like my first summer that I had without a pool, and it was really depressing, but I used to pool all the time as well. So there was one time where Scorpio and some girls, because he was always like surrounded by girls or whatever, were out at the pool, and they were having drinks, because at this community you could drink. The pool was also open 24 hours, so like if you wanted to party or hang out there, like that was fine. So Scorpio's out there with his friends. I'm just walking by because I got off work. So every day I find like fitness and health and all that like super important. So every day after work I would hit the gym. So we had this little gym, but the little gym was like all glass windows. And then right outside the glass windows, Scorpio was at that table with these girls. And it was just like the weirdest feeling I think I've ever had. I was walking in my gym clothes, and Scorpio stops me and he goes, "Hey Megan," because everybody knew me on property, and he goes, "You should come have a beer with us." And so like for me, I'm going to the gym, right? And I was like, okay, maybe after my workout, like whatever, because I hung out, some of the residents were cool, like you could chill with and you know, whatever. So I end up going to the gym. I worked out my standard workout, and I came out and I was all sweaty and gross and like didn't care. And he always caught me like in passing, because we both worked out a lot. So he would always catch me in passing at the gym anyway. So I ended up coming out, and then I walked up to his table, and I don't know what it was in my head randomly, because I was always a very self-conscious person. I just knew that I could have Scorpio, and I don't know what it was. So he goes, "Oh, you're gonna have that beer now?" And so we ended up hanging out, going to his place, whatever. So this went on for like a while, because me and Scorpio had like a really interesting relationship where we were very magnetically like drawn to each other. But I think it was just a combination of like both of our egos and both of us being stubborn that like we couldn't really like get it together. We would honestly just randomly hit each other up. It was easy. I could walk to his place. So, you know, he'd hit me up and be like, "Hey, I have 6 Coronas, what do you have? And then I'd say, oh, I'd have a bottle of wine or something. So we'd always like going on halves. And just kind of hit each other up that way, because with me and Scorpio, I mean, I honestly like ruined that one, I feel like, because I wasn't like emotionally open, I guess. But anyway, we would hang out and we were always like down. Like, it was very fun because we were always down for like whatever. We did things well together. Like, we would have been like, as far as like a couple, we would have been like a total power couple and gotten like a lot of things done. So, yeah, he'd hit me up and he'd be like, hey, let's go to the bar. It would be like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or he'd be like, hey, let's go get some stuff and cook, and we'd grill out and stuff like that. So because of our stubbornness, though, this is why me and Scorpio are always off and on. And then this is kind of like the time when I met Capricorn. So with Scorpio, he'd just like butt heads. There was a couple times where like he'd get in the mood and want me to leave, and then there was a couple times where like I would leave like while he was throwing out the trash or something. It was like really messed up. So like if he said something that pissed me off and then went, I remember one time specifically he did do that, go out to take the trash, and then I just left. So anyway, so while I'm having this kind of like on and off thing, like Scorpio going on, I met Capricorn. Now I can't remember, I met Capricorn online because in my early 20s, I was doing like that online dating stuff. For anybody who wants to try online dating, I have not had success with it because people are liars. They also don't have the interest that they claim on there to seem interesting. So I was not having good luck with it. But I did happen to meet Capricorn on an online dating site. Now, I'm already jaded from online dating, right? But we just honestly started conversing, and it was like good conversation. So we moved that to the phone, and then we decided to hang out. So I don't remember the first time I hung out with Capricorn. I don't know. Anyway, me and Scorpio would just hit each other up randomly. Capricorn came into the picture, and Capricorn and I would hang out, but like Capricorn was like really, really interested in having a relation. Like, he did not need... Capricorn's like, if you guys don't know about zodiacs anyways, like Capricorns typically get what they want and they will keep pursuing. So that's kind of how it was with Capricorn, is that he just would not quit. Like, he wanted to be my boyfriend, he wanted this, that, or the other. Well, the thing with Capricorn is like, I kept it very clear that I did not want a relationship with him, and mostly part of that is, if you're coming to an Aquarius, come correct. Now, typically with a Capricorn, they have their shit together. My Capricorn did not have his shit together. He had like a roommate. I never met them though, because I didn't care to, because I wasn't like getting involved in like his life. I never went into his house. Like, I saw where he like lived, or supposedly lived, let's say. So, but yeah, I would come like pick him up because he didn't like have a car. It's just like shit that it's not going to go anywhere, right? If you don't have a car, and he was always pretty much broke. However, we did have a really nice time together, so I would just pick him up, we'd have fun. Sometimes go out, we'd pool too. So the funny thing was that Scorpio had met Capricorn because we'd be at the pool together. So it was kind of like a funny thing. He'd always like smirk at me like, oh, for real, Megan. But he'd always have girls out of the pool too. So we were just kind of funny like that. I think we were honestly very, very similar. So Capricorn, I'm hanging out with on and off when Scorpio wasn't around. And like Capricorn, I'm telling you guys, like, desperately wanted to be official, desperately wanted to be my boyfriend. He met my friends, like that kind of stuff. All my friends really, really liked him. And then it was kind of like a good comfortableness. And I liked it too, because it was something to come back down to earth a little bit for me. So it was nice. However, he'd always text me. He'd always, you know, it's just kind of stuff that, like, if you did want a boyfriend, I mean, other than him not having his shit together, which that was a big no-no for me, you know, he's somebody that would probably be a good boyfriend. Now, Capricorn, though, did have issues. So he was in the Air Force, and he had issues with, I think he told me he had some bipolar kind of thing, so he was on medication. He did freak out a couple times, which was fine. Aquariuses are very good at bringing crazy people down to earth. They can make crazy people feel very comfortable. So with him, I could handle those episodes like calmer than most people. But I mean, like, he kind of had a suicidal streak. He was not all stable. So there's a couple times where I did, like, he had a freak out over, thinking, I know he would get really jealous, because I think he really was invested, but I was very upfront with him that, like, I did not want to be anything serious with him. And he would get jealous. So he'd ask me, like, who I was talking to, things like that, just stuff that, like, really turned me off. So anyway, there was a couple times I did have to take him home. Well, I think so, like, after one of these times, like, everything's all good. He would still text me, and I'd text him back, and then, you know, he'd want to hang out, but I don't always like having to, like, come pick him up and shit. So anyway, there's one night, and so, like I said, he had these episodes, and I'm explaining to them why I picked up the phone this night when he called. Now, he had helped me out, like, a couple times with my car, because he could, like, work on cars. There was a couple times where, like, my car wouldn't start or something like that. He was very good at fixing those kind of things. So we basically knew we had each other's back. So I was in bed one night, and I got a phone call, and it was probably like 1 o'clock, close to 1 o'clock in the morning. So I was asleep, and my phone goes off, and I look and I see that it's him. Now I'm like half asleep right now, and I didn't know if he was just like out late or something and thought to like drunk dial me. I don't know what that was, but I looked and I saw that it was Capricorn, and I just kind of like let it go to voicemail. So I waited about 10 minutes, because you never know with Capricorn, like, if it's an actual emergency or if he's just being stupid. So I waited about 10 minutes, thought, okay, he was just being stupid. He's probably out somewhere. He done forgot that he, like, called me. Cool. I go back to bed. Now, about, like, 15 minutes later, I get another phone call from him. So I'm like, something is seriously wrong. Like, so I missed the phone call. I think I went and got a glass of water or something, and then I go to call him back. So who picks up the phone? But it's a female. It's some girl. And she goes, "Hi, Megan." And I said, "Yeah." And I don't know how, like, if she knew about me before. Like, I think that Capricorn had, like, mentioned me to her before. I don't know. And I said, "Yeah, this is Megan." And I said, "Who's this?" And she said, "Well, this is Capricorn's girlfriend." And so in my head, I don't know, did I do this out loud? Probably. I just started laughing, like, out loud. And I said, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, this is Capricorn's girlfriend." And she didn't say it in the way of, like, a crazy new girlfriend. She said it in a way of, like, there's something, like, invested here, or this has been going on a while, right? And so I think I kind of caught her off guard, because I'm dying, because I know what my experience has been, is that he's been relentless about me being his girlfriend, right? Like, he's been relentless. He, like, wanted to meet my kid. Like, no. So anyway, she explains, like, who she is, and I said, "Oh, you are?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "So why are you calling me?" And she goes, "Because I'm his girlfriend, and you're texting my boyfriend, and you're blah, blah, blah." And I just laughed at her, and I said, "Well, you should take it up with him." I said, "You take that up with him." And it really, really caught her off guard, because she was like, kind of taken aback. You could hear it in her voice. And she's like, "Okay." And I was like, "Okay, well, good luck with that. Bye." So I'm just like, I hang up the phone. I'm dying laughing. Like, how long has Capricorn been doing this to this girl? And the funny thing is, like, I was like the other woman, but, like, I did not care, because to me, I had no idea. I would never do that to, like, a relationship. 2, he's been relentlessly trying to be my boyfriend this entire time. And the entire time I'm saying no, he's messing around on this other girl. So, I'm just laughing, because I'm just like, "Oh, Capricorn, you're ridiculous," whatever. And so anyway, she was texting me, and she wouldn't quit. So I ended up calling her back, and I was like, "Look, I don't know what to tell you." And she goes, "Well, do you mind if I ask you some questions?" And I was like, "Look, I'm sorry that you found out about me." He had put me in his phone under different names, but somehow she had, like, known who I was. And so me and Capricorn, this has been going on for a long time, so she's wanting, like, answers, So she goes, "Do you mind if I can, like, ask you a couple questions?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't mind at all." I was like, "Where is Capricorn right now?" And she goes, "He's sleeping in our bed." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Well, is he passed out? Because he sleeps pretty good." She goes, "Yeah." She's like, he won't wake up for a while. So we ended up talking, from me with this stranger girl, from, like, 2 in the morning to, like, 6 a.m. Like, and it was the funniest shit, because this girl said that he's been living with her, helping her with her kid. And then we started putting puzzle pieces together because she goes, I knew he must have been talking to you still, or talking to you again. And I said, honestly, we've been hanging out for like off and on for like the last 6 months. Like, I don't know how he's like really gotten away with that. He's never led on that. I said every once in a while he'll leave to like talk on the phone. Well, all these instances where she had feelings, like he would like leave to go talk to his aunt who he was really close with. I always knew he was really close to his aunt. Every time he left to talk to his aunt were times where he called his girlfriend. Now, every time he went out on my patio, I didn't give a shit what he was doing or who he was talking to. He would go out on the patio and close the door, right, and have a cigarette. And I don't smoke, so I just stay inside. Well, he'd be out on the patio checking in with her, telling her where he's at, things like that. And he always was very, very sweet to me. Like, he was never, he never treated me any certain way that would lead on that he had a girlfriend. So we start puzzling these pieces together. And then, so I would be like, oh, well, he was texting me from karaoke the other night, saying he wanted to come over and see me. And she goes, we were at karaoke. And I said, oh. And I was like, you guys were there together. And she goes, yeah, but he kept sneaking away the entire time to talk to you, to text you. She's like, because I went through his text messages, and she goes, and I can always tell when he's talking to you because he has a completely different demeanor towards me. He's like not interested in me. He's not, so it's very clear, like he was with this girl, and I bless, like I felt so bad. Like he was with her because out of convenience, when people do relationships and stuff like that. But it would be times where he had episodes. He'd come to me for help about them. He had happened to have that episode at her house and then leave, or I'd get him or something like that. Something would happen. So this entire time, like I never went in his house. His roommate would have had to be that girl. And then we just started exchanging stories. So the whole time, it was about 6 a.m. and she goes, well, thank you. And, blah, blah, blah. I'll definitely be like kicking his ass to the curb. And I was like, like, I'm sorry. That's gotta hurt, And she goes, no, it's fine, And she was like a lot older than us, like at the time, like we're in our early 20s, or I thought it was a lot older. Like she was like 37 or something. And for Capricorn, that was like old at that point, like being in your young 20s. So anyway, so all of our stories correlated. She basically was like, I'm kicking his ass to the curb. And I was like, girl, you can have him. And she's like, you can have him. And I was just like, whatever. I was like, I don't do drama. I didn't have clue that any of this was going on. So we ended up really like leaving it on like a really light level. She was honestly like, you're like cool as hell. Like we should hang out sometime. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So we get off the phone. Nothing more from Capricorn, right? Don't hear from him. Don't get text from him. Don't anything, right? So I had texted him, I think probably not quite like 2 months later, but just because I was worried, because I just know like the state that he's in, and I was just checking in. So I ended up texting him, and then I get a text back from the same girl saying, why are you texting my boyfriend? So like it was very, very evident. He felt like he ruined chances with me. I'm sure she rose hell the next morning, which she said she was going to, but these chicks like still take these dudes back. Like I don't understand. And like being on the perspective of another woman, it's so funny too, because I didn't care, because I feel it like I didn't care because I was not like invested. I was not seeing him seriously as like potential boyfriend material, anything like that. But so that was the time I was the other woman. It was like the weirdest fun. It was so funny. Like it was like the funniest experience ever. And like I don't, not to laugh on people's fun, but it was funny because he was so stupid. And it was really funny because I was like not having it. So yeah, so people who want to like mess around on their partners or want to do that, you'll get what you deserve. I'm guessing he ended up staying with her out of convenience. But yeah, no, it was just funny too, because he would get like, the funny thing is he'd get so jealous about me. The people who are the jealous people are the ones that are doing shady shit, and that's what people just need to realize. So yeah, that's just a random story about when I was the other woman. Yeah, it just that whole thing was just really funny to me. If you guys have comments or anything, or have had similar experiences, it seems to happen a lot more than everybody even thinks. Like even as much as it's shown on the interwebs and TV and stuff like that, it's still just it still just shocks me why people are even in relationships. So yeah, if you guys want to comment, like, share, anything like that, I will be a little bit busier this weekend, but if you guys want to book personal readings or anything like that, I'll probably come on. I'm going to do my reptilian one really, really soon, but I have to do it at a specific time. So yeah, I'm going to do my reptilian one. That's a long story. I have I have quite a few different experiences with people with high reptilian DNA and blah blah. So yeah, guys, if you want to comment, like, share, subscribe, anything like that, let me know what you want to hear about, and we will talk soon. Bye.